Alright guys, Stuart, Al, Jamie here for Outdoor Basics, and we've got Tom for the Prepared Pathfinder, and we're just going to do a wee interview with Tom about what he's up to now and some of the things, the projects that he's got coming up. So yeah, stay tuned for that. Tom, mate, thanks for coming up to camp and getting a wee bit of time out in the woods and that. We appreciate it. So first thing I want to talk about, or you can talk about for us, is a wee bit about your military history, how you get into the outdoors, and how this all started to come about for you.
Roger, okay. So I joined the parachute regiment when I was 16 as a junior soldier, served for 25 years in the parachute regiment. During that time I was in one para, the Red Devils parachute display team, and the Pathfinders. Deployed on operations 7 times, so Northern Ireland, Kosovo, Macedonia, Iraq and Afghanistan a couple of times, and obviously travelled the world just doing various outdoor type stuff and exercise and parachuting and training and stuff like that. Did the Army Combat Survival / SEER course 3 times during the Pathfinders. Really enjoyed that sort of stuff, got into the survival side of things. Continued serving after I left the regular army, joined 4 para. And yeah, basically just got into doing a lot of outdoor stuff, so out on the hills, mountain leader course, training, survival, bushcraft stuff. Just love it, love being in the outdoors basically.
And that's kind of led you on to like the next phase, a new project for you, which is First in Events.
Yeah, so I started First in Events last year, and basically with that we do the bushcraft survival days and weekends. Take people up going skydiving, so we use a local skydiving centre to me near Peterborough called Sibson. And we also run outdoor stuff on the hills, so fan dances, P company routes and navigation days. So all good stuff being in the outdoors, and great essential skills for people that want to know that sort of thing, being in the outdoors and just enjoying yourself rather than being sat at home on a computer.
So through the First in Events, you're also, you mentioned there, you're running the sort of bushcraft courses.
Yeah.
Is that for people that are already established in the outdoor community, or is it for beginners, or is it a mix of both? Or?
It's mainly sort of based at a really sort of basic level, so you don't need to know anything before you turn up. But I'm sure anyone that does come along on the days or the weekends, you're always going to learn something new as well. The instructors we've got are all serving or ex-military guys, and they've got a wealth of experience in all the subjects covered. So anyone that comes along, even if you've done stuff like this before, you're always going to learn new stuff from those different perspectives and different experiences being offered.
That's awesome, because I know, I think it was Ben came down from TRC. He came down and go on one of your courses as well. He was saying how good it was, kind of giving feedback on that. So it's good people that have kind of served a bit before as well, been in the outdoors a bit, and then getting on these courses and getting a different perspective. Me coming from a Royal Marine background, the way you do something, like what you get taught with the paras or PF might be slightly different, and vice versa. It's getting that sort of different outlook really in it, because there's more than one way to skin a cat, and it's just finding what works for you and sort of kind of moving into that field really.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. There's always a different way of looking at things, like say different way to skin a cat. And yeah, no doubt, you know, if I turn up on one of your courses, there'd be different things I'd learn on that course as opposed to things that I might do.
I think for me, so in the real world, I suppose you could call it, off YouTube land, I run an MMA gym and a strength and conditioning gym, and one of the things that I'm definitely seeing rising is kind of military style fitness. And I don't just mean the boot camps and stuff like that. I mean people want to do Bergen Fizz, rucksack fizz, want to get out on the hills, because it is so good for you physically. The benefits of getting out on the hill physically they're self-evident really. The benefits are massive for that, and also psychologically, getting out into big open spaces, up and down the hills, seeing the beautiful terrain, it pays dividends for your mind and your body. And I think for us, people that served a fair amount of time in the military, you know, like you'd be on a speed march or a tab or whatever, a yomp, and PTIs, and you know, would be like, civvies would pay thousands for this, and you'd always be like, yeah, cheers mate, and then you find out civvies actually would pay to do this.
Yeah.
And I think what's good about like Tom and guys, reputable guys, that are running these courses safely, because you're getting people you see it all the time on Instagram, especially just now. Every man and his dog's got a picture of him at the top of the fan dance, or do you know what I mean, like this, because they've seen SAS Who Dares Wins or whatever. Or you see these people getting up Ben Nevis, and a lot of these kind of pictures and stuff that you look at, you see the guys and they're not equipped to be up there.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? They're in a pair of trackies and a jacket they got for Lidl, and you're like, mate, you're a casualty waiting to happen.
Yeah, definitely.
So any of the guys, even the guys that maybe have got a bit of outdoor experience, let's say, you know, you're starting to get new to bushcraft, you're maybe wanting to get out onto the hill, or even dudes for like the prepping community or whatever it is that you're into, if you're looking to get out onto the hill, yeah, it's all very well and good driving to the fan dance and cracking on up it on your own, but without proper training and preparation, you could come unstuck incredibly quickly, and then you've just become a statistic, you're a casualty. So get in touch with somebody like Tom, get onto first in events, go down on, I know that you do navigation days.
Yeah, so we do navigation days and instruction on that, getting guys out on the hills, getting people learning, you know, your navigation techniques, map and compass rather than just GPS. A lot of people just relying, aren't they, on technology.
We were talking
nowadays.
about this earlier, somebody being able to march on a bear and use your pacing. It's a hard thing to do. Like I done it with my son and one of the other guys that come for the car up to where we are the other week, and I'd done their pacing with them over a football pitch and was like, right, let's try and keep our pacing all the way up here. We got less than halfway here and their head had went, they're like, oh, I don't know how far I've gone, and I was like, let's add in bad weather, let's add in it's dark, let's add in you're tired, whatever. So again, get on one of these basic day nav courses. They're worth their weight in gold. Even if you think you've done it, you know, people are like, yeah, you know, I've done a bit of map reading in cadets or whatever. Map reading is a massively perishable skill.
Definitely, yeah.
And somebody like me, I've done a lot of map reading, especially in my previous career, and now I'm still out a lot on the hill. But over lockdown, I definitely, when I went back out and done some nav, I definitely wasn't as sharp at it or as quick as I would like to have been. It's a definitively perishable skill. So for these guys that are maybe wanting to get your cool Instagram post at the top of the fan, consider getting on a first in events course, even like a day nav course before you go up yourself. And then A, you're going to learn the correct equipment, B, you're going to learn how to navigate, and C, you're going to learn a wee bit more about mountain movement, how to safely move from A to B. It's not just as simple as banging a bearing and then going that way, because you could end up in a bit of a dodgy scenario where you're going across terrain that route selection, a basic route selection is just a massively important thing.
Being able to interpret the information off the map and then plan your route according to what you can see there and actually put that into practice on the hill.
I think it's things that maybe through having spent extended periods of time in the military and on the ground and on various courses that we maybe took for granted. Because we were talking about it, you've done a Civi MLs course recently, and even on that some people can maybe disengage, whereas we're used to forward planning. So these skills that you're bringing from such a long military career and a diverse military career, I know that through chatting you've done your JBIC course, various bits and bobs, like the ability to plan and prepare your setup is essential for people. And I say this all the time, and I'm guilty, you're guilty of it, man. We're both kit pests, absolute kit whores. Do you know what I mean? Like, we talk about it all the time, and it is what it is. The ability to be physically fit enough to get out on the hill and have the basic skills to be on the hill, because when you're on the mountain and the weather comes in and it starts to blow a hoolie and you're having a bit of a nightmare, that super duper fancy woodlawn life isn't going to get you off the hill. Your own physical and technical ability is going to get you off the hill.
100%.
But also learning what is the right kit to take on the hill, and getting that balance. So another project that you're running, which is kind of how we linked up, you commented on our videos, is the Prepared Pathfinder YouTube channel.
Right. Yeah.
So how did that come about, and like what's your plans with that?
So basically with that side of it, during lockdown, I basically, you've run out of box sets to watch, you kind of wax the TV. I started watching a bit of YouTube, which I hadn't really done much of before, and I started looking into preparedness stuff. So not just the bushcraft survival, but more preparedness type stuff. So, if some sort of disaster happens, or, you get stuck outdoors for whatever reason, you're on the road and you get stranded somewhere. And a lot of the stuff I was watching, without being arrogant, wasn't particularly great. And you could just see straight away it's people sat in their basements showing off their local, their latest tools and stuff, and it's all shiny and unused. And I was thinking, actually, I could kind of give a little bit of advice on this stuff based on my experience, operational experience, and even just working outdoors over the many years that I have done through the military and stuff. So I kind of looked into that side of it, and I think preparedness has got a little bit of a bad name in the UK because people see it as being nut jobs going out into the woods on their own and just pretending and stuff, and thinking they're going to fight off the zombie apocalypse. Whereas actually, I think it's got a really good real life application. Even if it is just you get stranded in your car overnight, it can happen to anyone.
Recently, Al had a situation where he's from in Scotland, the power went down, Al.
Aye.
Yeah, and was it how many days was that?
3 days.
3 days. Now that doesn't sound a lot, but when you think about it, that's all your food gone in your fridge and your freezer.
Yep.
That's that in trouble unless you're preparing it. How are you going to heat your home, lighting? It doesn't necessarily mean you're preparing for a zombie apocalypse, but you're preparing for just general inconvenience.
Yeah.
Like the power going out for 3 days is an inconvenience.
Yeah.
So if you had a few battery powered lamps around your home, you had, I don't know, like a generator or whatever, some way of heating it that wasn't dependent on electric, things like that are essential. Like I completely agree with you in that I feel too many people have watched Preppers on the Preppers TV show on Netflix.
Yeah.
And they think it's some nut job with like a basement full
of guns and ammo.
Guns and ammo and that.
And
it doesn't necessarily need to be that. It could be, just like I said, general preparedness is, say for example, you do want to go for a day in the hill. General preparedness is having a day sack set up for a day in the hill, taking in general eventualities like the weather might change, somebody could get hurt, I should take a wee bit of food and some water.
Yeah.
Like
it's just having stuff in reserve, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because the way the military mindset works is you think of what if.
Yep.
So it's all your actions on, isn't it? As in the military. As again, without wanting to sound too arrogant, a lot of civilian mindset is, well, this is what I want to do and this is what's going to happen, as opposed to what could happen. So it's planning for those, contingencies for emergencies and accidents and stuff like that.
And I think that's a good thing, where that's one of the things you were commenting on our videos. It was like, it's good to see somebody that's kind of approaching it for the same sort of mindset.
Yeah.
And it's no trying to make ourselves sound like, because there's guys out there that are bushcrafters, man, that are unbelievable.
Yeah.
They could take a penknife and come into these woods and survive all day. But then on the flip side, you've got guys that think because they've bought that penknife that this other guy has,
they turn into John
that they're,
Rambo.
that they're that guy.
Yeah.
And they maybe don't look at the fact that guy has dedicated 1,000 hours to how to be in the woods, how to survive in the woods. And I think that's an important thing.
Yeah, there's no substitute for experience, basically, is there?
And you can't buy it. You just need to go and do it.
Exactly. Yeah.
I think some of the things you've done on your channel as well, just kind of general interest stuff. You joined the paras when I was still in primary school. I never joined up until the thousands. So I was in primary school. So you've put up some interesting things on John Lofty Wiseman recently.
Yeah. I mean, like I say, that was just more of an interest thing.
Yeah.
But it's one of those things that when I was growing up, his book was my Bible, and I've always kept that and referred to it for certain things. It's still 100% relevant now. I just put that recent thing up there for an interest thing, and it has generated a lot of good comments, a lot of interest, and a lot of good perspective from that.
I think that the John Lofty Wiseman thing, like my dad bought me that book when I was a kid as well, and like I kind of took myself off into the woods and built dens and like copied things out of it, like, and I don't think there's many lads that have joined up that book has kind of being an attributing factor.
Yeah,
you want to get into the
definitely an
woods
influencing part.
Yeah, definitely. And the man in his own right is an absolute living legend.
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
He's been there, seen it and done it. I think you mentioned, was he the youngest dude to have passed selection?
He was, yeah.
He was 18. Like, so anybody that knows like UKSF selection, it's a bit of an event. Like, do you know what I mean?
To get through at that age is pretty amazing.
To get through at 18 is, it's mind-boggling, really.
Yeah.
Just doing the various interest stuff. It's kind of the route that we're trying to take. We're trying to do fun interest things, as well as a bit of like, you should maybe consider this.
Yeah.
And trying to approach it for no, like, I was in the military, therefore I know vibe. That's not the vibe we're trying to give.
No.
We're looking at it in a perspective of, well, we have got this experience, we did do these courses, we did go to these places and do it in these environments, and if you can extrapolate a wee bit of knowledge for that and scale it back, it's going to work perfectly here. Like, I was talking about, like, that basic Mora knife, like, lads use that in Norway on, like, their novice course or whatever they're doing, or if it's good enough for that, it's good enough for you to get into the local woods and spend a day.
100%,
You don't need to go mental and buy a £400 knife. Now, this is coming for the guy that buys Aura knives. Absolute best.
Fair one.
So it's just one of the things. But yeah, so Tom's got loads of events throughout the year with the first in events. So if you jump on what's your Instagram, Facebook, stuff like that, mate?
So basically firstinevents.com is their website. And you can find all the events and stuff there. The next one we've got coming up is on the 16th of January. That's a fan dance. We haven't got any dates up for the rest of the year yet, but they will be coming soon. So that'll be skydiving, survival, navigation days.
As far as the skydiving and stuff like that goes, he was in the Red Devils, like parachute display team. Do you know what I mean? Like, they're all about it, falling downwards and that. Gravity.
Falling with style.
So, like, again, it speaks for itself, guys. So yeah, and for all the other dudes out there, I know there's loads of veterans that watch our channel and stuff like that. Let's support veteran-owned companies. Tom served a very, very long time, and he's moving into the next phase, which is absolutely dynamite. And I'm sure he's going to go at it with the same vigour, the same enthusiasm. So let's support each other. Go and follow his channel, Prepared Pathfinder as well.
Prepared Pathfinder, yeah, that's another one.
Jump on and have a look at that.
Yeah.
So yeah, thanks very much for watching, guys. As always, I've been Stu, he's been Al, he's been Tom, he's been Jamie. Yous have been awesome. See you in the next one.
Cheers, mate.
Cheers, mate. Thank you, bud.